And they continue to do this thing. We have to, well, why are they really doing this? Do they really want to be Democrats? Most of the rhinos, no. But they look at you and say, you know what? You stayed home last time. We don't know if you're serious. You're probably not serious when you're telling us that you want us to do this and not compromise. And we're saying that we need to compromise so we can try to get something done. If you don't follow all the way through, if you do not keep demanding excellence, you're going to get mediocrity. Every single freaking time. So the reason why, and look, folks, I'm telling you right now, my prediction is that Rand Paul and Ted Cruz are not going to be the nominee. One of them are not going to be the nominee for the Republican ticket. And they're not going to be the nominee because the money and the support is not going to be put behind them, because those of you who do support those two candidates, you're going to whine and throw a temper tantrum if they don't get the nomination. And then you're going to sit your little butts at home during Election Day in 2016. And those in power will look and say, see, we told you we couldn't trust you. So we're not going to pay attention and listen to anything you have to say. Your candidate of choice, we don't trust you're going to come out and vote for him even if we do nominate him. We don't trust you. You've been too inconsistent. You've let us down before. And we don't think this guy has enough wide appeal that if you don't support him, he's definitely not going to win. And we don't trust you to support him. Why? Because you won't support anybody else. And they're afraid that if Ted Cruz or Rand Paul just says one thing that you disagree with, you guys are flying off the handle and you're leaving him in the wind. And they're going to say something that you're going to vehemently disagree with. No, I'm not saying that all of this is right. I'm telling you this is humankind, human nature, and this is the way it is. Plain and simple. You know, I heard Mark Stein, who's often who often guest hosts for Rush Limbaugh, and he's often a guest on Sean Hannity. I heard him once say, you know, he looks for a candidate that he agrees with 75 to 80% of the time, because he's not going to find that 90 or 100% candidate. Because even if he did, he's going to be a fringe guy that nobody else is really gonna go for. So 75 to 80% of that I agree with. That's the candidate that we want, because we're not going to get everything we want. And he says, you know what? I never look at a candidate based on one singular issue. No single issue candidates. Because that's nonsense. That's nonsense. That's just stupidity. It's illogical. It's just stupid to base your vote on a single issue. Because what happens when that... Let's just say that issue gets resolved the first year he's in office. Then what? Yeah, the rest of what he believes in, becomes very apparent. Or you could say, well, what if that one single issue never comes up during his entire term in office? Even though maybe he pushes it, but it never comes up. What are you going to do? What are you going to do the rest of it with all that time? Oh, yeah, that single issue now becomes a moot point, doesn't it? So never decide on a candidate based on a single issue. I don't care what that single issue is. There has to be multiple issues, and you have to be able to find yourself agreeing with them on their policy on those issues 75 to 80% of the time. That's how you will find a candidate that you can support. Not by being a single issue or being an extreme believer in that, you know, if this guy doesn't get the nomination, I'm not voting, I'm staying home, Jack. That's the worst thing you can do for this country, as it has been proven. I mean, you can't stay at home. Not to mention, it just doesn't make any sense, and you're avoiding your civic duty to get out there and vote. And to get out there and pay attention, and to get out there and know who all the candidates are, and to and not to accept anything less than the best. No mediocrity, folks. No mediocrity. I mean, I'm going to be hammering this and from now until November, Election Day, November 2016, because it's that important. Speaking of important, what I originally wanted to, the road that I wanted to go down this evening was, here's a WTSP.com story, otherwise known as 10 News. WBTV out of South Carolina, York County, South Carolina. A high school in York County is speaking out after students protested Thursday morning, when a senior said he was asked to remove an American flag from his pickup truck. Yes, you got that right. A senior was asked to take down the American flag from his pickup truck. You know, if you've... I guess it depends on where you live. If you live in like New York City or something, a big city, you're probably not going to see this. But if you live in smaller cities, small towns, rural America, you will probably see people driving by every once in a while at least with the American flag and possibly, your state flag attached to their vehicle. It could be it's most of the time it's pickup trucks, but sometimes it's cars, regular sedan type of cars, not trucks, that drive by with these flags on them. And it looks cool. It kind of makes you stand and feel proud when somebody drives by like that. But you feel this instant kind of camaraderie with the driver. But at the same time, this kid does the same thing, and the school tells him to take it off. Take it off your truck. Now, the Thursday morning, several students, parents, and veterans protested the incident, many setting up across from the school grounds and waving flags. Now, a veteran, Michael Douglas, I know, but he's a Vietnam vet, so it's not the movie star Michael Douglas. Vietnam vet Michael Douglas said, "When I hear that you can't fly the American flag, it makes my blood run red, and my blood is red." In other words, he was kind of angry about it. So just before noon on Thursday, officials at York Comprehensive High School said Peyton Robinson and other students could keep the U.S. flag on his vehicle as long as no driving hazard exists. Now, the last time I checked, your school department, your high school, is not the Department of Motor Vehicles. How would they know what really constitutes a hazard? If it was a hazard to have this flag on his vehicle, you better believe that the state is going to, or the Department of Motor Vehicles is going to come up with a law or a regulation that prevents you from flying a flag on your vehicle due to safety hazards or safety reasons. But look, there's laws now on the books in many northern states that says if you don't clean off your car and snow flies off and hits another vehicle and causes an accident or damages another vehicle, you are fully liable. So clean off your car. Clean the snow off your car. No more of those people riding around with stuff on their hood and their roof. No more trucks being able to run around with ice that these flat sheets of snow and ice flying off the top of the trailer at highway speeds and doing serious damage and even injuring other motorists behind them. No, that can't happen anymore. That's illegal in many states. You will get fined. You will, and possibly even have criminal charges filed against you. So, if there's something that is not safe And let's face it, if it's a teenager driving, a teenager's driving, they have even less rights than the rest of us. Adults, cell phones must be hands-free. But if you're 16 or 17 years old, you can't use a phone at all. Even if it's hands-free, you can't. Not allowed. You're going to get in trouble, lose your license. Yeah, a lot of states' first offense, a driving offense, moving violation offense, your license is yanked, and usually until you're 18. Doesn't matter if you do it when you're 16 or 17, they usually yank it until you're 18. Because they deem that you're not responsible enough, you're not mature enough to drive. So if this is the case, and if this is that bad, that the school thought, well, geez, we want safe kids to drive around safe, then the state Department of Motor Vehicles would have already taken action. This is not a rare occurrence, by the way, of flying a flag, American flag, on your vehicle. Why this? Well, we know because the school, even in South Carolina, schools are run by a bunch of liberal libtard idiots. That's why. Now, parents who were part of the demonstration call the decision a win. Actually, it's not a win because that's not something that we should have to try to win on. I mean, think about it for a second. When you're looking at going after excellence and being the best you possibly can be and looking for the best in others that they have to give, does it come across that you should look at something that should already be a regular notarized fact as a win? It's not. It is not a win to be able to, to exercise your constitutional rights. That's not a win. I know we look, again, it's this kind of downgrading of what we believe is the best. Now we're starting to settle for winning by keeping a constitutional right. You have the freedom to worship. Yeah, that's a win, man. Why is that a win? You already had it. You already owned it. It's not a win. I mean, it's already a loss that you have to defend yourself for that. It's already a loss when you have an American school telling an American student that they cannot fly the American flag on their American registered vehicle on American soil. And people are saying, well, it's a win because he can keep on doing it. No, he never should have been told he couldn't. It's a loss, folks. It's a huge, humongous loss. He never should have been told he couldn't fly the flag. Notice they didn't tell him he couldn't fly any other flag. And the kid, you're seeing pictures of it on his truck. He's got the American flag and what appears to be the South Carolina state flag. They didn't tell him to stop flying the South Carolina state flag, but he couldn't fly the American flag, and that's why everybody was protesting. And when the school backs down, everybody says, oh, we got to win. No, you freaking lost as soon as the school said to take it off the truck. Because they never should have said, because those people on the Board of Education, and those people in the school, running the schools, should never have been hired. Never. So you folks down in South Carolina and all across this country about flying the flag, let me tell you something. You think you're winning a battle because you get to keep doing something that you were already guaranteed to be able to do in the first place. You lost. We all lost. This is not a win. And until we start understanding this and start reversing it by demanding excellence, we're going to continue losing, and then we're going to start not winning these cases. We're going to lose them. Then are you going to say, oh, my God, we lost? No, you lost long before when you started allowing this crap to happen in the first place. It's not a win to be able to keep something that you already have. You shouldn't have to defend something that you already own. Understand that.